The host looks at your shoes before she looks at your face. You think that is an accident. The door opens before you knock. A hostess with a tablet glances down, then up, then down again. She is not reading your name. She is reading your shoes. You are seated near the kitchen doors. The air smells like scorched butter. The waiters walk fast enough to brush your elbow. You order the cheapest glass of red on the list. You tell yourself the seat does not matter. It matters. Somewhere on that tablet, a system has already decided what kind of night you get. No one is going to tell you that out loud. What if the real menu was never the one in your hands? Across the room, a man is being seated at the window table. His name is Ryan. The sommelier greets him like an old friend. Ryan has only been coming here for 4 months. A bottle appears before he asks for one. The bread basket at his table is warm. Yours arrived cold 12 minutes ago. You do not know it yet. The warmth of that bread was never about temperature. You are 26. This is the first restaurant that costs more than your rent per square foot. You order an appetizer instead of an entree and call it diet. The waiter does not correct you. He has seen this math before. Here is the part no one explains. The bread, the olives, the little dish of oil, none of it is generosity. It is a retention tactic, built to make a cheap table feel expensive. Expensive enough that you order a second course anyway. You order the second course. The verdict is simple. You paid for the feeling of abundance, not the abundance itself. Tell us in the comments. The first time a restaurant made you feel poor before you even opened the menu. 3 years later, you are back. Older, steadier, a real job now, instead of 2 unstable ones. The reservation system remembers you this time, not your face, your check average. Restaurants run software that tags returning guests by what they historically spend. That tag decides your table before the host even sees you walk in. You get a booth now, not the one by the kitchen. Progress. But Ryan is still by the window, and Ryan still gets the bread first. They were never rating your money. They were rating your fear. You do not know it yet. The fear was the only thing they could actually see. The waiter recommends the fish. You hesitate for 1 second before answering. He notices the hesitation the way a poker player notices a tell. That pause is a trained upsell cue. Staff are taught to read it and offer something just above your comfort line. Because hesitation often reads as a guest who says yes to avoid looking unsure. You say yes. You did not choose the branzino. The branzino chose the version of you that flinched. This is the part most people never learn. You just learned it without paying for a course. The menu was never fixed. The menu moves depending on how confident you look reading it. Ryan orders without looking at the prices. He never has. You assume this means he has more money than you. You do not know it yet. Assumption is doing all the work in that sentence. A woman at the next table sends her steak back twice. The waiter's smile does not move a single muscle the second time. He returns with a new plate. An unopened bottle, uncharged, comes with it. You watch this happen and think it is about her tone. It is not about her tone. Comps above a certain amount get reviewed by management. They check how often that table has been seated before. She was not comped because she was rude. She was comped because she was recognized. Rudeness from a stranger gets an apology. Rudeness from a regular gets a bottle. Tell us in the comments. Have you ever watched someone get treated better for behaving worse? Ryan's table sends nothing back, ever. You used to think that meant he was easy to please. You do not know it yet. A man who never complains often cannot afford the scene it would cause. Years pass. You are the kind of guest now who calls ahead. You know the maitre d' by first name. You are shown to a private room for 6 people. The minimum spend on the card is calculated per cover, not per net worth. Almost no one at the table understands this. The restaurant does not care what you're worth. It only cares what you're likely to order once the door closes. The room feels exclusive. The room is a spreadsheet with better lighting. They were never rating your money. They were rating your fear. Ryan is at the next private room over. Through the wall you hear laughter, a cork. A toast to something you can't make out. He looks like he has already arrived somewhere you are still climbing toward. You do not know it yet. Arrival was never the thing you were watching. You have just learned something most people at your table will never learn tonight. You learned it for the price of a bottle of wine you didn't choose. The room does not care about your net worth. It only cares whether your order matches your card. Most people never separate the two. You just did. The staff rotate the good tables among a short list of names they trust. Yours is one of them now. No one writes this list down. No one tells you it exists. You only discover it exists the day you stop being seated near the kitchen. You start being seated near the door instead. The second most valuable spot in the room. Reserved for the guest staff, want other guests to see arriving. An older man at the bar catches your eye while you wait. His name is Frank. He has eaten in this room more times than the staff can count. None of them fuss over him the way they fuss over Ryan. He says one sentence to you, almost in passing. The restaurants that impress you least. Those are usually the ones that can actually afford you. Then he goes back to his drink. He never speaks to you again for the rest of the night. The collapse comes on the night you finally host the private room yourself. Your card is declined at the table, in front of everyone. Over a bill that should have cleared without a thought. The room goes quiet the way rooms go quiet only once. You do not know it yet. This is the exact moment you already won. They were never rating your money. They were rating your fear. Here is what no one tells you until it happens to them. The decline was a bank error. It cleared in 90 seconds by a second card you almost didn't bring. But the silence in that room told you everything. The second before the waiter smiled and said it happens all the time. That silence told you who was solvent and who was only performing solvency. Because the person who panics owns nothing yet. The person who waits it out already does. 2 tables over, Ryan's private room empties early. You learn later, from someone who worked the floor, Ryan tips the staff in cash before every visit. So they remember his name and treat him like money he does not have. The window table, the unasked-for bottle, the warm bread. All of it purchased in advance, every single time. By a man managing an image. On a card with a balance he refuses to look at. You do not know it yet, but the whole test happened at the door. And Ryan had been failing it since the first night you envied him. The restaurant was never rating your bank account. It was rating your face for fear. Ryan's face never learned to hide it. He just learned to pay for the silence before anyone could ask. They were never rating your money. They were rating your fear. The next time you walk through that door, the hostess looks at your shoes first, the way she always does. This time you already know what she's checking for. For the first time, it doesn't reach you. She seats you by the window without being asked. You do not order the cheapest glass on the list. You do not order the most expensive one either. You just order what you came for. The bread arrives warm. You don't notice the temperature at all.